Hello, today I'm showing you guys how to do chimney plackets. I'm using McCall's pattern 2447. It's a men's shirt pattern. We basically want these two pieces to end up looking like this. So, first step is to mark your pattern. Okay, so the easiest way to mark this is to actually cut this little box out. So on your sleeve pattern, there's a little box that marks where you match up your placket. And you can cut that out. And then you do the same thing with your chimney placket pattern. You cut out that little box. And after you have those cut out, you line them back up with your patterns and you can mark them on the wrong sides of the fabric. So I'll line this up with my fabric. And mark the box on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm using a printed fabric so that you can see the right side from the wrong side, because it's really important with chimney plackets to know your right side from your wrong side. So I've marked my little box on my sleeve pattern, and now I want to mark my box on my chimney placket. Alright, after you have those marked on the wrong sides of the fabric, you can match them up together. So the reason why it's so important to know right side from wrong side is because your chimney placket gets sewn on the wrong side of the fabric, but then turned to the right side. So you'll see what I mean in a minute when I start sewing this, but the first step is to match up your boxes. So if you can see here, I have my line right here and my line right here. So I'm just going to match up those boxes. And I'm doing right side of the fabric to the wrong side of the fabric. And my next step is to sew those. Now that I have my two pieces marked and pinned together, I'm going to sew them together along this rectangle, making sure that the right side is to the wrong side of the fabric. So I'm going to sew down one side, and about a ½ inch before I get to the end, I'm going to decrease my stitch length and take baby stitches around the corner. And the reason why I do this is when I cut this open to turn it inside out, I want the baby stitches to secure the corners so they don't pucker or pop out. Okay, once I've maneuvered around that corner and I've pivoted on both sides, I'm going to come back down at a regular stitch length. My next step is to cut open in a Y shape the box that I just sewed. So I'm going to go straight up the middle, and then about a ½ inch before I get to the top, I'm going to make a little triangle shape at the top, going to the very edge of my stitches so I can pull that open like that. After I have cut that open, I'll press it and turn it inside, or turn it right side out. So right now, our placket is on the wrong side of the fabric. We want it to be on the right side. So our right side of our fabric just has this cut into it with the Y-shaped cut, like this. All we're going to do is pull our placket from the wrong side to the right side. And then we're going to press it down so it's nice and crisp. And the way I get a nice crisp press is I press it open first, and then I press it over to the side. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Press my seam open first. And then press it inside. If you're having any bunching right here in the corners, it means you didn't clip far enough, so you just need to clip all the way to your stitches. And then you can kind of press out any kinks that you have or any puckers that you have. So it should lay nice and flat like that. And while we're at the iron, you want to fold over the top of your chimney 1/4 of an inch and press it. So all along the chimney gets folded 1/4 of an inch over and pressed. These 3 corners, this corner, right here, and this edge right here. So it will look like that. Now that we have 3 of our raw edges pressed down, we can fold the other edges in. And the way I do that is I make sure that this is nice and lined up at a 90-degree angle, so you have a nice rectangle. And I press this back over to the inside of that rectangle. And then I make sure that the entire rectangle is covered, like so. And press. So once your rectangle is covered, you can then press your raw edge to line up with your stitch from the original stitch that you made from this box in the rectangle. So you now have this little flap that's folded 1/4 of an inch right here to cover your stitches here, and your other fold to cover the inside of the placket, the open box. Then what you want to do is stitch along this line here. Edge stitch along the right side of your fold. So now this side of our placket is finished, and we want to come along and press the other side. So what we want to do is try to press this as close to 1/4 of an inch as possible, and we're going to cover up what we just did and try and line up this fold with the edge of the other fold on the right side. Once it's nice and symmetrical, you can give it a good press, and then you have this fold folded over, and you can now stitch along this side. You want to just stitch this side on the fold. You don't want to stitch it to the shirt, because then you'll sew your placket closed. So you don't want to do that. You just want to sew right along the fold. So I'm now sewing the folded edge of this chimney placket and making sure that it's not getting sewn to the shirt. I'm just edge stitching along this fold. Now that I have that edge stitching done, I can sew the placket, this part of the house, to the shirt. And I'm going to start right here, come to this, pivot to here, come back down, and then cross back over. So essentially I'm making a little house in this shape right here, and we're stitching that to the shirt. So if we've done everything correctly, all of our edges on the inside and the out should be nice and enclosed and finished. And you'll have your little stitching around the top here. And then you can attach the cuff at the bottom. So remember, when you do the other sleeve, it's going to be a mirrored image. Before it was facing this way, and now it's going to be facing this way. Good luck! Hope your chimney plackets turn out great.